This is the Sisterhood Society podcast, where three sisters talk life, food, fashion, kids, and everything in between. Become part of our sisterhood where everyone is welcome at our table. Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the Sisterhood Society podcast. We are so excited to do another episode, and all three of us are back. So I know it's been a couple of weeks since you've gotten all three sisters. We honestly really showed up and showed out today. We're all three so high glam and just looking our absolute best for you guys. So if you're podcast only, you don't get to enjoy the absolutely red carpet looks we are sporting today.
The viewing pleasure.
Yeah, really. I want to wear my glasses, but you guys, when I wear these without makeup, I look like a 70s serial killer. Like, I actually look like a sex offender from the 1976. So, when I wear makeup, they don't. Today, so. What'd you say?
I said I pretty much look like I'm homeless today. So
yeah, these actually look really cute on Phil, but they're not his prescription. And he went to the eye doctor today, and his eyes are dilated. And I was like, "You look like a vampire." It's like so scary. Anyways, so we're gonna we are going to go over some fun get to know each other. Well, not get to know each other questions. It's how well do you know each other questions.
Get to know each other.
I guess we will be getting to know each other. We're going to see how well we know each other. And I really had a hard time coming up with questions. So mine are kind of dumb. But anyways, we're going to start with what's good. And we'll start with Tara because I feel like we're on a ticking time bomb over here. She might have 8 minutes left, maybe 15. We're not sure. So
well, I'm still recovering. I went into this a little naive with how much time it was going to take to feel back to normal.
Your what's goods always turn into what's bad.
So what I was going to say is that since I can't be like cleaning or doing a lot of physical stuff, I bribed my children into this game of cleaning the house, and they loved it. And now they want to. They loved it. Now they want to. They keep asking when we can do it again. So good. What I did is I took like a little bit of a VIP thing, like vibe, and put prizes in a bucket, like we do for.
Very nice.
And so I gave them a task, and I say, okay, we're going to dust the family room. Then you can pick a prize, and whatever was in the bowl is what they got once the task was done. So they ranged anywhere from 50 cents to scrunchies, a necklace, slushies from the gas station. They were able to, what was the other thing? Like popcorn from the garlic press, like just like random stuff, like all the stuff that I know that they like. And they thought it was so fun. So
I'm going to have to do that. Do you think Chi-Chi would be involved? She'll probably be running around making messes behind us.
I mean, Briggs did like helping mop the floor. So he was just like he just kept taking the rag and like throwing more water on the floor. And then he was like sliding across it with him. He thought it was so fun. But it was nice because usually when I ask them to clean, there is a lot of like weeping and gnashing of teeth. And it's just like a not fun experience.
Old Testament biblical.
Very biblical description here.
But it's usually a disaster for everybody involved. Like even when I said we were going to clean, Brian was like, "Oh, here we go," because it's usually yelling and crying, and everyone's like upset, and it's just like frustrating, and no one's cooperating, and someone's tattling. Anyway, it was great. There was no meltdowns. Everybody's super excited, and even the next day, they asked if they could do it again. So I feel like that's a big win.
Yes, you can do it again.
Like as a matter of fact.
We just need to discuss something really quick that Tara's a fraud. You're wearing a bookish sweatshirt.
The only reason I'm wearing this is because it's oversized. And so it does not hug anything near my incision line.
Tara's wearing some of our book merch, and I'm like, you're just talking. All of a sudden, I'm like looking at your sweatshirt, and you're both wearing books in our sweatshirt. I'm like, this is not
one of these things is not like the other one.
Literally,
I think this is the one that I picked out to be supportive of the book club thing, because I liked the print of it. But then I have another one that has the open book, because you didn't like the style of it or something.
You're right.
Like that.
I didn't like it.
And so I ended up keeping that one, but I like them because they're 2X. So they're like really oversized. So they're like really cozy.
Super cozy.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Speaking of the book club, we've gotten really off track. So
I'm pretty sure it was supposed to be July's episode.
Yeah.
Crap,
I was gonna say,
you're right.
You know what we should do? This is what we should just
September.
A lot of people have said that they had a hard time getting into the book club book that I had chose.
Mm.
And I ended up hearing from a YouTuber I followed that it's a lot of like British satire because it's by a British like author. So I'm wondering if we should scrap it and go with the book that you were going to pick, and I will pick a different one for the month after and do more of like a spooky thriller.
It was my choice next.
No,
It wasn't
was it?
Tara's. Yeah, it was yours, then mine,
Yeah.
then Tara's.
That's what, because Whit
Oh,
picked that
'cause
weird one.
I
Does
actually
she
like what
apologize?
Tara's. Oh, that was 6. I was gonna say I actually like the one that Tara was gonna pick because I did already read it.
Oh, fine. Okay, so
but
skip it.
no,
It's
we'll-
okay. I'm only a temporary character on this show, anyways.
You
No
have
one
to
really
say,
knows
just-
I'm here.
You have to say, mm-hmm.
Yeah, I have to nod my head and actually talk on the
No, I
podcast.
didn't realize. I was thinking since Tara messaged me that it was her pick next. So why don't we do this? Why don't next episode, unless you have
Why
one at
don't
the
we
top
scrap
of
the
mind.
book club?
No, Tara. Why don't we scrap Tara?
Then it's just a podcast of Kate because Whit is anonymous.
Okay, welcome to Kate's reading podcast. No, I'm just kidding. So
If you're just listening to it, it's just Kate talking because Whit doesn't say anything.
I'm a one-woman show.
I won't be able to get a word in edgewise.
When he'll be like, anyways, I was gonna say, unless you have one top of mind, we could just say on next week's episode, Whitney will announce the pick and we'll read it in September and discuss beginning of October. How's that sound? We'll get back on track here. Okay, so you guys, exciting announcement on next episode is Whitney's book pick. And I will be honest, I didn't even read The Thursday Murder Club.
I have it on my Kindle. I haven't read
wanted
it yet,
to.
though.
I still am going to. It's on my fall TBR, but just things kept coming ahead of it, and then we kept pushing back the episode, and so I didn't prioritize it, and I'm sorry. So we need to get back on track. You're right. We
Yeah.
will reformulate the book club.
And
We
for
should come out-
Jessie's sake, who's our podcast manager, we are going to get ahead. So she's not editing the podcast at like 5:00 the day before.
Yeah.
So. We promise, Jessie. We promise.
It's in our to-do list. Okay, so Whitney, now let's talk about your good.
Oh, my good. What is my good? I
You went to a baby shower. You went
did.
to Riv's football game.
Uh-huh.
What else have
I
you
didn't
done?
know either of those things. Why don't you like me anymore?
I went to
Why don't
my
we talk anymore?
sister-in-law's baby shower on Saturday and then Rue's football game right after, which was the first football game I was able to make it to this year because it's on a Saturday and it's during nap time. It's really difficult to
Maybe
get
it's
there.
because both of those events happened on Whit's out of office text hours.
That's true.
Well-
I'm not allowed to text you on Saturdays.
You
What-
don't really post a lot on the weekends, though.
No, I don't.
So
I'm-
even if you didn't know about it, it's not like you would have seen it on social media.
yeah, no, I don't post a lot in general. But anyways, yep, that was fun. We had a great Saturday and Sunday evening I got sick. Monday I was sick. And then today I am back at it. So my good is that I am now healthy, feeling good. Can actually get back into working out and get back on my diet. So yes. Kate,
Love
what's
that
your
for
good?
you. I'm trying to think of what I did this past weekend. My mom actually started up our Bible study again. She has Bible study with like how many of there's like 7 of us girls that are in it and started last night. And she was like, only 3 people are eating, so I'm just gonna get takeout. And then she ended up making this like massive spread plus dessert last night. So
Wait, I thought she was going to start doing it without food, without dinner.
Yeah, I thought she was
No.
just gonna do snacks.
oh, I've never heard that before. No, she was like, it feels cheap not to cook. And she like half the experience I feel like is like getting a home cooked meal, you know?
Yeah.
From someone who cooks.
I mean,
well.
I would love coming to that.
I know. So we had steak and potatoes and salad, and she made apple crisp. It was quite the meal, honestly.
Oh.
And so that was super fun. I'm trying to think of what else that was fun that I did. Oh, we had friends over on, oh my gosh. Okay. We had friends over on Saturday night, and my cousin Katie, when we were at her house like a month ago, she made this brown butter chocolate chip cookie, skillet cookie. That was a TikTok recipe, and I made it, and it was to die for. And
Did
that
you make it with ice cream or just the skillet?
I did, but do you guys know this about me? I don't like to put my ice cream on hot desserts. Whitney probably knows this
You
because
should use that as your question.
oh yeah, but the hard thing is like since Whit and I grew up so close together, she already knows everything. So I feel like I can't really get anything faster. But Whitney's gonna know where this originated from too, because we discovered them together. We would go to BJ's in California, and they had this skillet cookie, and I learned from there that it's really gross to put ice cream on top, and then it becomes like soupy and like
Mhm.
it just like always grossed me out that everyone's like scooping their spoons on the same soupy ice cream on this
It's
soggy
basically milk
cookie.
on top of it.
Yeah, and it just like grossed me out to the point where now anytime I have a hot dessert, I always do ice cream on the side.
I can
Has to
understand
be-
that.
Has to be in a separate bowl. Like
You know what?
don't think
I was thinking about the Pazookies from BJ's the
of-
other day
Pizookies,
because
that's what I was trying to come up
yes.
with.
yeah, we went my mouth is watering.
I know.
I'm talking
like,
about it. I'm like
suddenly really thirsty.
trying to swallow my spit.
You're so good though.
Oh my gosh, they're so good. We went to Alexander's and you were the one that was like, oh, you have to get their skillet cookie. And I was like, okay, it's all right.
Did I tell you that a long time ago?
I don't know. Anyways, it's
Okay.
okay. But the whole time I was sitting there, I was like, this doesn't even compare to the skillet cookies that I have had in the
Mhm.
past. And I was telling
Yeah.
Isaac that at BJ's, I will literally it doesn't even matter the flavor of their cookie
Mhm.
because they're always so good. And oh my gosh, it just like made me crave the Pazookie. So if you are in Orange County,
Mhm.
California, eat a
Are you
Pazookie
sure
or
it
two
was
for me.
Alexander's?
That's such a
Because
niche
I've never had-
recommendation. Like if you live in Southern California, go here and get the cookie.
Oh my
Yeah,
gosh.
well,
the only time I've
this-
ever suggested a skillet cookie is at
Outback?
Outback.
Maybe that's what it was because Alexander's
But
is
did
just
you get the
subpar.
did you get the one that was white chocolate with caramel and pretzel in it?
Oh, you know what? Maybe it was Outback. That was my problem. I went to the wrong spot.
Didn't you ask your
Yes.
kids if they wanted to go to a fancy restaurant and they said they wanted to go to Outback?
No, it wasn't Outback. They wanted to go to Texas Roadhouse.
Oh, that's what
And
I
the
was, oh my
fancy
gosh, I have
dinner.
cilantro in my teeth.
The
Did you
funniest
guys
part
just
was
see
wait, no, I can't see it from here. The funny part is that we were suggesting like places like Biaggi's and like Jim's Steakhouse, all these
that was
places that would
just,
be
like my worst nightmare realized. Like I just had like this.
He doesn't even
massive-
care.
She
She
doesn't
doesn't
care.
care about your
Sorry,
story.
I just realized like as I was laughing, I'm like, how long has that been there and where did it come from? Okay, sorry, keep talking.
well, Leah had been with them early in the day, and I was like, find out from them when they'd like to go to dinner, and they said they want to go someplace fancy. So she's rattling off places, and Brecken keeps saying it's not fancy enough, and we were like, what are we left with? So then finally we were like, well, where do you want to go? And she was like, that one place that has like the good rolls, and we were like, Texas Roadhouse.
That's funny.
Which don't get me wrong, I love a good Texas Roadhouse. I love the rolls and the butter, but it just doesn't necessarily like hit like the line of fancy.
Right.
So anyway, it was just funny.
That's cute. Well, I think that it's time to hop right into this week's episode. We're going to talk about questions you may or may not know each other. I took this more my interpretation.
We're going
of
to
this.
see how well we know each other.
Yeah,
you
I
took like a
this
really long.
as, like have you been paying attention lately? Because I couldn't think of anything that you wouldn't know about me.
Okay.
I feel like this portion
Did you
of
come up with questions?
no, I feel like
Oh.
this portion of the podcast we should have like a theme song.
That
Like
like
do at
oh
the
wait,
beginning.
we don't have
Like we can chant it. We could be like jump right in, jump right in, jump right in.
Are you saying dump or jump?
I said dump.
Dump right in.
Yeah.
I don't know about the theme song, but
You think about it and you get back to
come
me.
back to it. Yeah. Okay.
I thought that was pretty
So-
good, but okay.
Well,
But how do you add in sound music? Like
No,
if Jesse's
we do
edit-
it. We sing it.
Oh, we sing it.
Yeah.
So it wouldn't be like you'd have Sam make it for us. And then-
No,
because Jesse would have to add it in before the segment starts.
you're taking it way too literally. We sing it. We
So-
just
Well, no, like other podcasts I listen to, like they'll have like a little like chime noise when they go into a pot or into a sponsorship.
we could be our own chime noise.
Okay, so
Do-do-do-do.
We're ready to
1,
do-
2, 3. Jump right in. Jump right in. I feel like I'm on like the Wiggles. Like that's how that feels. Ready, dude? Jump right in. We need to do like a satire or something on like a song that's like popular, like Harry Styles or something.
Hmm.
You know?
We could do
Okay.
our own.
As it was.
I'm so thirsty. Okay, so I will start with a question for you guys that I have prepped.
Okay.
And okay, what do I want to start with? All right, how long did I cry myself to sleep last night?
What?
I'm just kidding.
Do you want it in hours or minutes?
I just wanted to catch you off guard. Okay, so what book am I currently reading?
Oh crap.
You
I
know I
posted it
tapped
last
through
night.
those stories.
I know.
Well, you can't look.
I'm looking at my
She's
nails.
looking at her
Oh.
nails.
Did you think I was looking it up?
I thought you were looking it up on your phone.
I don't remember the name of it, but it's a thriller, so I immediately like tuned it out.
I just posted one photo of it last night. How'd you know it was a
it's got
thriller?
it's got a green cover. It looked like a thriller.
It's blue, but that's fine.
I don't know.
You guys lose. It's Take It Back by Kia Abdullah, and it's really good. Whitney, you would actually probably like it. It's not scary.
You said that about Verity, and that one scared me.
No, I did say it was scary.
Okay, you also said that about Layla, and that one scared me too.
You just
Okay,
lose.
here's the thing. I don't understand. How do books scare you?
Like, you have to read to know, Tara.
Like in a movie, the sound and the music like changes, and so you know like something intense is coming up. But when you're reading a book and they were like, and someone jumped out, are you like like how do you get scared from a book? I don't get it.
It's so hard to take you seriously when you're wearing a sweatshirt that says bookish. You're like bashing books while you're wearing a sweatshirt that says bookish.
I'm like, no, I'm like legitimately curious because
How about you crack open one and then you can figure it out for
Say, like,
yourself?
this
Okay,
one was
Tara.
super scary, and I'm just like, but I'm reading it. I don't
Tara,
get how
would
it's scary.
Would you read Verity for $100?
Oh, Verity.
$250.
Oh my gosh. No, this isn't a negotiation. Like
How
I'm
bad
not
would you
looking
want
for
my
you to
review?
counter.
What a punk.
I'm just saying, like, I would give you like $100 to read my favorite book. Phil did it for free, so I'm being pretty generous. I'm not asking you to do this. I wasn't looking for a counter offer. But then that is a very suspenseful book where you do feel a little spooked while reading it. And it's a great time because it's spooky season. So what you should do is you should read it and then come back to the podcast and let us know.
I think
For
what's
$100,
But I have
Dude,
to
I would
read
get-
the book version, not the audio.
listen, I could give you
'Cause the
$100
audio I could
Starbucks gift
understand.
card
No,
so
the
you could get
book,
your
you
pie.
gotta read the book because you're asking the question, how do you get
Well,
scared?
no, that's what I'm saying.
That's
it would
true.
have to be the book version.
have to
because
be the
if you're
book.
listening to the audio, then I can understand like like the voice could change.
Right.
Yeah, you have to read it. And I think part of it is because you don't know what's going to happen. And you're like, oh gosh, what am I going to read next?
But like when you're watching a movie and it's scary, most of the time you like cover your eyes. So like if you're reading a book, do you like hunker down or like what? Like I'm
You know what?
legitimately
Read it
curious.
right now.
Next podcast, I'm going to tell you, I'm saying right now, next podcast, I want to know
Okay.
what, like your response to
You're
Verity.
assuming that I'll have read it in a week.
Yes, I
That's-
am.
Those are big expectations.
Tara,
Just
it's
because
a
you
small
don't-
book.
Just because you don't like to read doesn't mean you don't read fast. I think you do read fast.
I don't read fast. I feel like
Oh.
I'm a very slow reader.
Maybe you're a slow comprehender.
Yes, I do feel like
Same.
it takes me.
But I read quickly. So the I feel like Hoko though, or Coho is very easy. Hoko, Homecoming. Homecoming's really easy to read.
We're like
Um,
particularly unhinged on this episode.
But it is. She's very easy to read. It's very easy to fly through because you just kind of dive right in. It's not one of those ones where you realize you're reading. So yes, I'm gonna hold you to it. You're gonna at
Okay.
least have a portion of it read.
What if I read it for 5 chai lattes with pumpkin foam?
Why don't I give you a Starbucks gift card so you can get your tries for free if you read it?
Isn't that the same thing as 5 free?
Yeah.
Why don't I
I-
smack you right now and we can move on? I'm gonna
I-
smack your
I said
incisions.
I said $100 gift card.
I know. I was giving you less. Okay.
Because 5 chai
I'll
lattes
think about
was
it.
only 25.
I do have a lot of downtime since I can't move.
Yeah, and you've run out of
You wanna hear something
documentaries.
gross?
I'm currently watching The Crown.
Phil, someone was asking about your surgery, like update. Oh, it was Coda. He's like, "How's Teresa?" He thought Tara's original name was Teresa, so he always calls her Teresa. And Phil was like, "Yeah, I heard that she's like, been in pain and sore." And then he goes, "And she has drains." And he goes, "Coda, how much money to drink the drains?"
Gross.
They got in this like 40-minute conversation about whose juice is, what's in it, and like how much money. And Phil's like, "For $1,000,000, put that juice in front of me right now. I'll drink someone's blood." I'm like,
What's
"Phil,
gonna-
you're disgusting."
No.
Which gonna throw up.
I don't think he hasn't seen the drains.
Oh my gosh, we were crying.
Oh,
We were like,
gosh.
you couldn't pay me to do that. So I'm giving you a very generous offer, $100 to read a book. Like that's just not even.
Yeah, we're not saying drink
You
your
know, when it comes
drains.
down to
Drink
it, I
your
would never
drains.
take your money.
No, I'm
Oh.
offering. I want you to experience the life that is Coho slash. This is probably the most talked about book on the internet. So
Mhm.
you
Yeah.
can be in on the hype slash understand our feelings of happiness.
Being scared by a book. So I
It
can truly
is-
understand what it's like to be spooked by a book.
It wasn't like crazy spooky, but it definitely is suspenseful. I was texting Kate and I was like, please tell me that I'm not gonna like
Someone's gonna jump out.
someone's
at
gonna
you.
die. Yeah.
And do you read on your phone? If you buy a book, would you read it on your phone?
Sometimes, but it's just in general, I just don't enjoy reading at all.
Mm.
Like I will buy 'em I like the concept of it and I'll buy them for like a plane or something like that. And then I get a couple chapters in and I'm kind of like, oh. There's very few books that I've
I
really,
wonder it's because you've just been reading bad books.
You've been reading the wrong kinds.
I don't
Oh.
like the time that it takes. I don't like, they make me really tired. So if I do start reading them, it makes me fall asleep. I don't know. I just don't like, it's literally the last thing that comes to mind of like, if I've got extra time on my hands, be like, what should I do? A book never comes to mind. Like not even once.
See, I feel that way about watching TV. I just
Same.
I get so bored watching like a series, which is funny because
Same.
I was watching this TikTok girl and she was like, "How I lost like I don't even know what she said, like so many hundreds of pounds." She's like, "I've never seen this tip on the internet. Pick a show you've never seen before and only watch it at the gym, like when you're on the treadmill or like whatever, like elliptical."
So she keeps going so she can watch more episodes.
Yeah, and she's like, "That's the
Interesting.
best tip. That's like not like, oh, I'm going to tell you to eat less calories."
Yeah.
And so I did try that, but the only thing is I need something to cover the screen of the time because I feel like my phone is next to the time that I'm constantly like, oh, I have 6 more minutes on the treadmill. Like I just get so bored.
It's easier when you're outside because I did that with Yellowstone a couple times when we were doing 75 hard, but
Yeah.
it's harder to do that when you're walking outside because you don't have any place to put it. So
Right.
it's like you're holding it in front of your face and that's
Yeah.
more difficult.
And if you're like Phil, you break your ankle. Okay,
Oh.
so did you guys have a question?
I thought you came up with the questions.
I thought we were each submitting questions to each other. Okay, so this is how well you guys know me. That's what this episode is.
Wait, okay, wait.
'Cause you guys
What?
didn't do it right. I feel like this whole episode is such a mess. This episode's called
Unhinged.
hashtag miscommunication.
Okay,
Doesn't
wait,
follow
wait.
instructions.
What book am I currently reading?
I'm
No
gonna
one
guess. Tara.
She's this close to being kicked off our Sisterhood podcast. It's just going to be Sisters podcast.
Take off
Sister.
your bookish sweatshirt and go lay in your recliner. Okay? Gosh.
What book am I currently reading?
I'm gonna guess that you're on the second book of Throne of Glass series.
Ah, I'm on the first.
Oh, really?
First
I thought
book.
you would be on the second by now because you read so fast.
Nope, I'm on the first book. The Throne of Glass, maybe it's just going from ACOTAR to this one. It's a little bit harder for me to get into. Like it feels a little bit slower. And so I've been noticing I've actually been like falling asleep while I read them, where that never happened with ACOTAR.
Oh, nice.
But it is still good and very interesting storyline. I'm far enough in now that I'm not as like bored with it.
Right.
But yeah. Anyways,
Nice.
I'm just gonna
Okay.
pretend you're not here because you don't care.
What is my favorite meal?
Favorite meal.
Just a plate of meat.
It's just no sides, just
Just a
straight
bunch of
meat.
meat.
Just different
like,
type.
Pork chop with a side of prime rib and some bacon on the side. Honestly, that's my answer. Final answer, meats.
Meats.
I know your favorite type of food is Mexican. Your favorite meal, if I'm going to be very specific, it's a rigatoni D at Maggiano's. Or
the carbonara at North Italia.
true.
Yes, that is good.
And then you get the Parmesan bread with the truffle Parmesan bread with marinara on the side for dipping.
It's a tough split between Mexican and Italian because I do love both. But if I had to choose, I would say tacos are usually always my number one.
Yep.
Tacos. I wouldn't have guessed that. That's so interesting. I would have said Italian or steak. I thought you were a big steak girl.
I'm honestly not. Like if we go to, I mean, I don't dislike steak, but if I'm going to a steak restaurant, I don't necessarily choose steak as my dinner. I usually pick something else on the menu.
Got it.
I do like steak. It's just not my number one fave.
Okay.
Back to you.
Back to me. Okay. My questions are so lame. There's so much pressure since I'm the only one who prepared.
And yet we came up with some on the spot. Although Wit did steal yours.
I was just going round robin.
What is my favorite fall candle?
Leaves.
Oh, yeah.
Do you know
No,
my
sweater
third?
weather.
Do you know my third?
Third.
Well, it's kind of up there in the top two. I don't know.
Because
if
I think
guess
Bath and
this
Body
one.
Works candles are overpriced, so I don't buy them anymore. So I don't know their sense.
If you're listening to the podcast, I'm rolling my eyes. You can hear it.
Don't you feel like that they burn super fast?
No, I don't.
Really?
There's like an 80-hour burn time. You probably
Oh,
just
I feel
forget
like-
how long you've been burning them.
Tara just lights it once and forgets to blow it out.
It's like
2 days later, she's like, damn, that did go really fast.
"Yeah, I
Honestly,
think I
I'm
lit
not-
this on Sunday.
I'm
so-"
honestly not a light the candles kind of person. Brian is
What
the one that
are
likes
you
candles
like?
at our
We
house.
don't even. I don't even know
I don't-
you.
I don't know. I don't know.
This
I was
show
thinking the
is
other day,
doing-
what's my hobby, and I couldn't think of one.
This show is doing a like exactly what we were wanting to. We're
New
getting to know
show-
Tara more.
New show alternative title: Wit, Kate versus Tara.
Wit and Kate kick Tara off the podcast. Everybody will tune in. My
It's
friend
no longer a sisterhood. It's exclusive.
Luke Withridge told me the other day that he listens to our podcast because he said it feels like he's catching up with us even though he's not seeing us in person.
Does he like to listen to us bicker? Because that's what we're doing.
He said he enjoys it. I was like, I'm
Really?
impressed that you actually tune in and listen because
Yeah,
I would think
I
most
know.
guys probably wouldn't find it over. I mean, Brian's never listened to an episode,
I forced Isaac to listen to a few.
especially
say
the first
he
one when you
listens.
kept turning it back on in the car.
Yeah.
That's
You're like, he's like, praise music. And you're like, no, podcast. It plays for a couple of seconds and it's like, praise music. And you're like, nope, podcast.
That's what he gets for using my Spotify.
That was
that's
funny.
funny.
You could tell
Um,
there was like confusion.
Well, shout out to Luke. So there you
Yes. Shout out, Luke.
go.
Okay.
Harvest Gathering is my other one.
Oh,
And
See, I
if-
haven't.
that one's
That's
more
a newer one though,
Thanksgiving.
right?
no,
like,
it's
that's
old.
not-
That's
an
a
old one?
Thanksgiving. Yeah, Whitney, I was
Okay.
just going to say that. Mom gave it to me for the first time I was ever going to host Thanksgiving. And she brought it on a trip when she was helping me like set up our house. And she was like, you should burn this for your Thanksgiving. And I did. And now it always reminds me of when I was first married hosting Thanksgiving. So I always burn it like a little later into the fall, but it just gives me good vibes.
You know what one is also really good without being like too like overly sweet and gross? White pumpkin.
Really?
Gives a nice fall vibe. Isn't overly sweet. It sounds like it would be, but
ones that smell like food, but pumpkin is an exception. Like if it's like sweet cinnamon donut, I'm like, it just gives me a headache.
yeah.
But
So I was just thinking about this. So for me, it's not about like if the house is cozy or if it's the food or the smells or something like that. It's the experiences. Like I like to do the
yeah,
experiences.
but who wants to have an experience in a mess? So like, you know.
No, I don't mean.
I'm so confused. Like
said
that.
it's not about her house being clean, and if my house is a disaster,
No, I didn't
I'm
say
not
clean.
having a good experience.
Here's the thing too, though, is I feel like
What
it's
if your house
I
smells
said
bad?
your house being cozy, not
Oh,
clean.
so like
you said clean.
I feel like the experience of like experience something it would be the smells, the tastes, the like what you're
For
seeing.
me, I love pumpkin and apple cider donuts, but it's the experience of going to Raiders and getting one, or it's the experience of going to Pumpkin Festival and having it there. It's like the experience of doing fall things, not necessarily having fall emulated in my home.
Mm.
You know what I'm
could
saying?
you
Yeah,
could
but
have
you
an
like to-
experience in your own home, though.
But I thought you
I like
liked
to-
to decorate for fall and like make.
I don't mind it. I would say I like to do it less. And like I used to decorate for like every holiday, and now I decorate for, if I decorate for fall, it's fall and Christmas. And
You've
Christmas
become
is
a minimalist.
I have become a minimalist. I think it's just like as I've gotten older, I don't care as much about it all.
Mm.
Because in my head, what it feels like is it's
I'm
for work
judging you.
later.
Me and Whitney. Are
Oh,
both
I know
like,
you are. Miss.
We Tara gets shanked after this podcast.
I think so. My hobby, the thing that I enjoy most is spending time with people, like the people that I care about most, and like getting together and like the fellowship aspect of that. Like I love catching up with people. So if I had a hobby, that's what it would be. But the rest of it, I feel like I'm very relatively low maintenance in a lot of ways because I just don't do a lot.
You have some high maintenance opinions, though.
I do have high maintenance opinions. Yes.
Yeah,
low
I was
ma-
gonna say
no.
your opinions don't match your vibes. Because usually someone who would be low maintenance would have like Phil, like he has. But sometimes Phil has hot takes. But I just mean like he doesn't really need anything to be happy. You know,
But what do I need to be happy?
Not books.
not a candle.
For God's sakes.
She
No
needs-
balloons.
She needs a plate of meats.
No flowers. Don't get her any flowers.
Yeah,
Plate of meats.
Tara's like the most infuriating plate of meats.
But see, that's
You're
the
the
thing.
hardest person to shop for Christmas when you didn't used to be, because you're like, just give me a gift card. I don't want anything. And then you're like, just give me money. I want to like repaint my house. And you're like, not that this is all about me, but like it is kind of, because someone wants to gift their hard-earned money on the joy of giving a gift, and you take out that joy, you know?
Tara's like, okay.
I'll make up a list for you this year.
You always buy on Tara's list and you can't lose.
No, but you haven't been doing lists lately, haven't you?
I used to give you guys lists and then I'd go buy it before Christmas, and that would make you guys real angry.
You'd end up with like 3 pajama sets or
We
whatever.
didn't need
Um,
questions after all to get to know each other. We're just bickering instead. All my
Well, my
grievances about
my
Christmas are
friends
coming
feel like
out.
actually, so Holly came over for lunch the other day and we were talking about the nugget ice maker, and she's like, Ash and I were actually talking about getting that for you for your birthday, trying to figure out if we should get you one for your birthday because they think I'm super hard to buy for, which I guess I could understand that I would be hard to buy for. But
I think
in
it's
reality,
more the fact that, like, obviously we know that you would want a spa gift card or something, but to constantly get that over and over again feels really like disingenuous and boring.
no, I really like
She's like, no, please just keep
You know
getting
what
me.
I mean? Like
Yeah.
that, like every single time you're like, oh, thanks, another foot massage. Like, I just feel like it's just one of those things where it's like, it doesn't feel. It feels like it's been done, you know what I mean,
Yeah.
over and over again. So I think that's
well,
why
and
it's
that's how I
harder
feel
to
like when I
gift.
would get them clothes from Royal and Reese every year. And I'm like, this feels really chintzy on my part because I'm just like pulling things off the rack and they love it.
Yeah.
And they want that every year. So that's what it's just ended up being. But like for me, it's the same thing. It's like, well, now I can go to foot massage and I don't have to pay for it, you know?
You know what I've been doing throughout the year is on my phone, I have a note that says Christmas list. And I have a section for myself, like throughout the year, if I'm thinking, oh, you know what? I really need a new one of these. I write
Mhm.
it on Christmas list. So that way when people ask me like what I want, I'll know right off the bat, as well as other people. If they're like, oh, really like wish I had that, I'll write it down in my little note.
I think
I
the
found
hard
that
part
out
about
this week.
Christmas lists is that, especially when we were first married, we did a lot more gifts for people. And it ends up being a lot of like $20 gift. You feel like you have to stay within kind of like a $20
Yeah.
and $25 gift range. And I feel like that's hard. That's a hard list to come up with because it's stuff I don't need, right? Like you're just saying like, oh, get me a pair of socks, like
Yeah.
cozy socks or something. You know what I mean? It's like, I don't need a pair of cozy socks. What else? Like what kinds of things are you going to add up for $20 outside of gift cards or things like that? Right. Like it's just, I don't need a mug. I don't need another water cup. I don't like, it's just hard to come up with all that stuff that are like littler items.
Mhm.
Whereas the stuff that you really do want and need, like if I was to tell you right now, I want a shower door for my shower. Well, that's not exactly a sexy present that everybody wants to go in on and be like, hey, we got you a shower door for Christmas. But I'm like sick to death of the shower curtain. So if you guys would like to go in,
I'm kind of depressed. I'm like,
I'm like
This makes me so
suddenly like,
sad.
also feeling really bad for dogging on Tara this whole episode. Like I'm like silently also spiraling over here. Like, am I upset? Are we being too mean? Like Tara's talking about Christmas shower doors, and I'm like, is she upset with us? Like, I don't know.
you're
I was like,
doing your
what?
Jim Gap again. Is she upset with us?
Are you okay? Just a little check-in.
Seriously.
Just
if I
making
was
sure.
if I was mad, you would know it.
She
'cause I
wouldn't be,
would
she
stop
wouldn't be talking.
She's being a good sport. Okay, we will stop dogging on Tara.
I won't shank
I
you.
think
I
that
promise.
I think that that's what people like about the podcast though is the banter
Yeah.
because that's what makes it funny. I don't take
I'm
it
glad
personally.
you can take it because if you guys were doing this to me, I would be like, you guys, stop. Like, come on.
A little sensitive.
I'd be like, let's talk about a new topic.
But you're the
Anyways.
easiest to buy for because you like everything.
I thought you were going to say you're the easiest to make fun of.
Oh,
Because I am really easy to make fun of.
I think that you make fun of yourself in a lot of ways and we laugh along.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
that's true.
Yes.
I
but-
get ahead of it. That's what I do. I'm like, I can feel people about to make fun of this.
But you're always really excited about everything. Like you wouldn't care if we got you another mug and like
Right.
coffee grounds for Christmas. Like you'd be excited.
Right.
And I'd be like, oh, great. Another mug I won't use. You know, like that
So
kind of thing.
my best friend
Yeah,
Britt told me
high
last
opinions.
year that she thought I was hard to buy for, and I was like kind of offended by that. I was like, I feel she was like, you have everything, and I was like, I don't have everything. Like,
You're like, there's still more things.
and she was like, you buy yourself everything, and I was like, but there's still more stuff. Like I am so easy to buy for. I don't even remember. I don't even think she ended up getting me a Christmas gift, which is fine. Like I'm not like saying it was about the gifts. It was the fact that she said I was hard to buy for, and I was like, I take personal offense to that because I find myself to be incredibly easy to buy for. She definitely doesn't listen to the podcast, so it's fine. But when she said that, I was kind of like, ouch. Like, excuse me. Anyways, what were we talking about?
I feel like Wit's
Questions.
relatively easy to buy for. This is not going with how well we know each other, but you are specific about what you want, and it's more about the quality of the item than it is about the quantity.
Yeah.
Whereas I feel like Kate loves both, but I
Yeah.
think you're definitely more of like a quantity person. You would love to have like 20 gifts in front of you instead of 5.
Not always. That's probably gotten better as I've gotten older. Do you disagree?
I feel
I
like
mean, it's fun to open things, but I've enjoyed gifting more than I have opening.
so if
'cause I
you
love
got
to
one
give.
massive gift versus like 20 smaller things, you would prefer that, or you would be fine with that?
It depends on what the massive gift was and how much I wanted it.
So
the
like let's
problem
say
is
if
I
we
don't
all
have-
went together and we got you a Chanel bag
Oh, I would be thrilled.
and then nobody
We
else
should do
got you a
that.
gift the rest of Christmas.
You
Well,
get
part
to get me a Chanel bag.
Part of the fun though with getting like designer bags is the experience of going to get it.
Yeah, but if someone gifted me a Chanel, I would probably poop. Like I would probably be like, "Oh my gosh!" Like if you and all the Lawsons, like if all of our family and all of the Lawsons got
I don't
together
think
and
if we
got me-
pulled our money, we'd still be there.
Yeah, I don't think so. What
Yeah, I
what about
probably wouldn't.
half a Chanel bag?
You'd have to get me like a Gucci wallet or something.
it's like a tiny little like
Maybe we could
like, "We got you a
afford a
card
Fendi
case."
bucket bag.
Yeah, I like those. No, yeah, I think that Whitney is my most like I really love buying for Whitney. She's probably my favorite person to shop for, and then I always go overboard with how much I buy her. And then I actually really enjoy shopping for Phil's dad. He's probably my Next person I get really excited to buy for, because he gets excited about anything, and he's always like really animated when he opens gifts. I used to love to shop for Libby, but now Libby's so stylish, I question everything, and I'll like buy things and return it, and I'm like stressed about buying her gifts. Um because I'm like, is she gonna think this is lame and then just donate it later? You know what I mean? Like she'll be like, what is this? A school for ants? Um I'm just kidding. No, I mean, Libby's always so sweet and like obviously is very like fun to watch open gifts, but I think I'm intimidated because she's so stylish. And so then I'm like, I think this is cool, but would she? You know what I mean?
I can see that.
Yeah, who else is fun to buy for in my life? Honestly, the kids are fun to buy for, obviously.
I actually enjoy buying for Brian. He's just not a great gift receiver. So
Yeah.
he's not fun to buy for in that regard because his reaction is deplorable.
I used to
But-
enjoy buying for you before you asked for shower doors. Because you used to want gifts, and it's been more like in the last, since you've had kids, probably, we're used to
I feel like
asking
since
for
we
gifts.
opened Royal and Reese, like getting clothes feels kind of anticlimactic because it's like, well, I could just have pulled this off the rack. Like, so I
Yeah,
feel
I
like
get
I
that.
so rarely buy myself clothes anymore just because one, I don't wear them very many places, and two, it's like, well, I could just get it from here. So then it's kind of like shopping isn't nearly as fun as it used to be. Because I feel like I have access to it all the time.
And
Does that
by
make
the
sense?
look of us three right now, aren't we like the most fashionable icons you've ever
I
seen?
think about that all the time because literally 98% of the time I'm wearing crap like this, where it's just like
know.
oversized sweatshirts and I look just like I do not care.
Well, when I look back on some of the stuff we sold in like 2017, I just want to personally apologize to customers. 'Cause I'm like,
same.
what in the world
It was
that?
stylish then.
I get it was in style then, but man, looking back, I'm like those floral tops that were like the long sleeve floral shirts that went like A-line a little bit.
the tunic dresses over
Yes.
jeans. I
Yes,
just
that.
People
man.
liked those. I don't know.
And the
I mean,
mules, the flat mules.
and
I still
sometimes
love a
things
good
are in
mule.
style
know.
where
Savage. She's like, you know, those shoes that Tara wears every fall? Those.
it's like, you know,
I'm
Tara's
just
style
kidding.
in entirety. That. Can't believe we sell that.
Oh, I'm joking.
Like the
Clearly,
other day,
look
we
at
were
me.
putting a collection together, and I was like, I'm uninspired by these pieces, and I'm like, do you like peplums? And Tara's like, I'd wear a peplum, and I'm like, since when do you wear peplums? I was like, I've never seen you in a peplum in like the last 10 years. And she's like, I did before I had kids, and now that I have my new stomach, I will be wearing peplums. I'm like, I'm holding you to that. You wear a peplum, call me.
Well, now that they've taken out so much, you know, like area, I
Yeah.
have a feeling that maybe I'm going to have a shorter torso.
So
Maybe. Actually, that would be kind of interesting to see if all of a
Because
sudden
I'm like,
your,
well, what
your
happens
torso's
to
not
it?
as
Like
long.
everything, yeah. Like, I mean, my frame is still the same. Although if I can't stand up straight, then it just maybe I might be like you guys' height.
What have you tried to stand up straight? What
Yeah,
happens
it
if you
hurts.
just
It feels
really?
like it's pulling.
Ugh.
Yeah, it's not fun.
maybe you'll just get a hunchback forever. And
Okay, so,
then
so speaking of that, Heidi came to drop off your stuff today, and I was
Oh,
like
yeah.
obviously walking hunched over, and she's like, "How are you doing?" I'm like, "Oh, I'm still recovering." She from the tummy tuck and stuff, and she was like, "You know, when I completely forgot you had that done, and when I walked in, I was like, why is Tara walking like that? I wonder what's wrong with her."
that's amazing.
I was like, "Yeah, this isn't like normal."
By the way, once I get approval from our cousin on where she would like to be contacted, I will do like a whole review of her services because she does interior design / decorating, and fabulous service, grade A service. And I want to share about it, but I was like, do you want me to like direct them to like a contact page on your website or like your Instagram? And she didn't know yet. So as soon as she's ready for that, we will unleash the information.
So
I don't
should we
want-
do one more question for each of us and then wrap it up?
Have we done more than one
Well,
question?
it's
I think
funny
we've
that you
done two.
ask because
funny.
these are my questions.
Mhm,
So,
yes.
um,
I came up with what's my favorite food.
so original.
It's gorgeous, gorgeous question.
I was gonna ask another question, but it doesn't like it won't. Neither of the ones that I prepped for myself will apply to you guys. So we need to come up with something else.
Well, you just ask yours and we'll come up with our own.
Well, I'm embarrassed of them now. I need to think of something else.
What
I'm
would
thirsty.
be my dream trip?
We already know that.
Do we?
Mm-hmm.
Your dream trip is Hawaii,
Hawaii.
and American TV.
Exactly. American TV, American language, the
So
English
funny.
English
this is too
language.
easy. We
I've
can't
actually
ask
always
each
wanted
other.
to go to Australia as well, but
You are such a fraud.
I've always
Since
Yeah,
when
where-
do you want to go out of the
where-
country?
Wear that
Give me the
sweatshirt on the
box.
plane.
Yes, please. On the 56-hour flight that
Yeah, Phil's
you
been to Australia twice, and it's like 13 or 14 hours.
yeah,
He watched like a whole season of a show. Like, I forget what show it was, but he watched like an entire season of a show.
I think before they had in screen or like what was it in
In
plane
flight.
entertainment, in flight
Yeah.
entertainment. Like, you'd have to just sit there for 14 hours.
You could read a book. You can go to Australia, wear your
You
bookish
could-
sweatshirt, and read Verity on the
you
way.
could read Verity on the way and be done by the time you get to Australia.
Okay, what's
You
your
could
question?
read 2 books on the way. 14 hours, I'd probably read like 4 books. I should just go to Australia so I can get some of my TBR done.
I would love that. That's one of my favorite things about traveling without kids is being able to read a book on the plane. I don't think I've ever shared that before.
You
but
know
it's
what would
my
be the
favorite.
perfect gift given to me is that because I remember Ash Overberg's husband did this for her for Valentine's Day, and I've always wanted Brian to do it, and he won't or hasn't. But
Have you mentioned it to him?
yes, but I don't know where he'd go. So her husband took the kids and himself and the dog and went to his parents' house for the weekend. So she got to be home alone for like, I think it was 3 straight days where she could do whatever she wanted, but still get to
Wow.
sleep in her own bed instead of like going to a hotel where you sleep like crap because you're not in your own bed, not your own pillows.
Mm.
She got to be in her own house for like 3 days straight with no kids, no dog, no husband. I'm like, that would
So
be a
Brian could go to Whit's house
dream. Go across the
with
street.
all the kids.
I have a feeling my children would end up back at my home at some point. But I was like, wouldn't that be fun? Because you could go out with your friends, you could like watch TV, you could like sleep in your own bed, you could have, you could just have a weekend of it with no responsibilities. It'd be like you're single again.
I don't think I'd
That's what
like
I do
that.
now.
Really?
I wouldn't
Oh.
want to do that.
Like
I mean,
it'd
I
be a
do
dream.
that now. I want the opposite. I want lots of kids in my house. You know what
Yeah.
would be great is if I could have a kid in my house where it's really loud all the time and I get no sleep. I'm just kidding. I'm like
All in
that
due
person
time.
that everything you say, I just make it about myself. I don't want you to feel bad for me.
Oh my gosh, I realize I do that, but it's like my way of being able to connect with people. And then I notice I'm doing it, and then I get all awkward, and I like feel bad for doing it.
Like,
You know what
hate
you do when we are with new people that you don't know is that instead of talking to them, you talk to me.
Probably.
Like you direct the conversation at me, even though you're technically talking to them. It's like you're looking to me for
Great. One more
reassurance.
thing to feel self-conscious about. Thank you, Tara.
It's just-
I don't notice that. I feel like with you being someone who's like more introverted, that you really push yourself in social situations to be not introverted. And you don't like strike me as the person that goes home and you're like, oh, I'm exhausted. I was just with people for 5 hours. You know how some introverted people are like that. There's like that TikTok that's going around where she's like, we should do this again sometime. We should hang out like 5 days in a row. Yes, like for 5 hours. And then the window rolls up and she's like dead. Like, I don't feel that way about you, where like, I feel like introverts always joke about how they're like so drained after they're with people, but you don't.
I think
ever-
you definitely recharge with being able to sleep and be like on your own time. But you're not like a complete introvert, because when you are with people, you don't just sit there and not talk.
Yeah.
Like you
It
do
depends.
contribute.
If I don't know the people, like if you put me in a room with other people that I don't know, I'm not going to talk to them
like Phil,
unless
for the
someone I
most-
know comes in and
was
I
gonna say,
can
Phil,
like.
for the most part, like will try to connect with people in the room, but then there's other times we could go to a party and he is like completely content sitting by himself people watching, and if nobody talks to him and like the TV was on, it was football, he would be like so happy. Like he wouldn't need anyone to speak to him to have a good time. And a lot of the time I'm like, why are you so quiet? And he's like, I just love listening. I'm like, oh, can't relate. Like, what? It's just like, I can't imagine going to a party and sitting in the corner and literally not talking to a single person. Can you like just picture that picture really quick of me at a party sitting in the corner, not talking to anyone? People would be like, is she sick? Or it's just be so weird.
Because people probably show up to parties and expect you to be talking to them.
Yeah,
Like they are dependent on you to keep up the conversation.
that's true. I do feel a lot of pressure in those situations to keep things going. You know what I mean? Like
People like me appreciate that a lot.
to like make sure conversation is flowing. I'm like, okay, what else do I talk about? It's funny.
Whit didn't ask her last question.
Oh yes, I don't think I did either.
What was your last question?
What would be my dream trip? You guys got it wrong.
Your dream? No, we didn't.
We got it right according to the Tara that we know.
Yeah, we don't know you. I feel so betrayed on this podcast. I'm like, where's our sister and what'd you do with her? I'm trying to like genuinely think of what makes you happy. Besides like
told you.
Hanging out with people,
just people, is it?
catching up with her people. It's her hobby.
So if I gifted you a candle, you'd be like, bummer.
Kind of.
Really? But
If I
just-
gifted you with cookies, you'd be like,
It
sweet.
depends on the capacity of the gift. Like, is it like, hey, you're not feeling well, here's a candle? Very kind. If it was like for my birthday, bummer.
Just one candle for your
It's
birthday
like
is kind of a
higher
bummer, actually.
expectations on my birthday gift.
I just mean like, I always enjoy clothes or jewelry or perfume or whatever. Like, I would never like turn that down as like Christmas or birthday gifts. But as a whole, I do think that, especially over the years, that I've definitely become more of like a service person. Like, I love getting gifted services. But when I'm happiest, it's when I'm with the people that I care about the most.
What's weird about the services thing though is that
So you
you're
must
not
be really happy
necessarily-
right now.
It does give me lots of joy.
Yeah, I was gonna say us just making fun of you this whole episode has just really filled your cup.
I'm
We're
not making fun of
you,
her.
We're trying to understand you. That's what it is for me.
New title: Trying to Understand Tara.
Grasping
The
the mind
Tara we
of
know.
Tara Bowman. Saying goodbye to the Tara we knew. That's the
Post
real
tummy tuck, a
episode.
new Tara emerges.
Her old personality went away with her juices.
Oh, gross.
Oh man.
It's in her drains. Goodbye. All right, guys, we are going to wrap up this week's episode. Thanks for listening to us bicker, getting to know the new Tara, and hopefully picking a new book club book for next week. So don't miss that announcement. It's going to be great, and Whitney's going to come out with a real banger of a book next week. So we are so grateful for you guys. Thank you for listening. You can find us on all major platforms where podcasts can be found. And if you would like to leave us a 5-star review about how much you enjoyed the episode, please do so. It helps the podcast a lot. We love you, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye.